Welcome in, everybody, to another episode of The Right Stuff, a Blood Bowl podcast brought to you by Empire Games, coming out of sometimes lovely, always pitch-clearing Anderson, South Carolina. I am Yannie here with Nathan, and we've got a little of games to talk about this week.
Yeah, this is a little baby episode. So it's cute out there rolling around on its trike. Just kind of wheeling around, just toddling about.
Yeah, propeller hat, giant lollipop, all that fun stuff. Very adorable baby episode. Yeah, we are winding down on this season, so we're running out of games that we can possibly speak about.
There's only 2 left.
Yeah.
In fact.
Yeah. And to get to those 2 games left, we have 3 games to talk about. Couple of the bracket semifinals and then one of the bracket finals, and I guess we can just jump in to the bracket A semifinals, which was Slaughterhouse 11 and the Necromantic State Hellhounds. Your game?
Yeah. 2 of the games are mine. Yeah. Spoilers, I guess, but this was a hotly anticipated game on my side because we played during the regular season and we had a tie. Mm-hmm. And I felt like I was getting the edge in that game. I felt like my team had a slight edge going into the game, just in general. I think at the first time we played, I put like 5 casualties on his team. Now, granted, some of those were lucky, but he did also take my blood spawn out of the equation early in the first time. So I was not eager to duplicate that again. And so what I felt was the best course of action was to actually kick to him. The first time I played, I opted to receive to see what kind of damage I could do to his team. And I actually think that's kind of a fallacy versus undead, right? Damaging, in quotation marks, an undead team through regeneration. It's not necessarily easy to do. And you're relying on your opponent to get unlucky for the stuff that you do to them to stick. So another reason to kick to him is that this would actually be the first time, like, he's going to put his 4-strength ghoul on the pitch on the first drive. He might not put his 4-strength ghoul on the pitch if he's defending, right? Mm-hmm. He may not want to give me the chance to blitz it. And so... I was gunning for some damage, and I know people looking in tour play were probably scratching their head because there were like no updates in this game for like an hour.
Yeah, definitely was not me. Definitely not. I let it put on the record. I was not confused.
Yeah. So I wanted to go in the game with at least 14 players in case I lost some, and he was getting enough money for Luther. Now, compared to a lot of the other players that I've played against, or like the star players that I've played against this season, Luther's ability to do damage to my team is narrow, right? He's got 5 strength, but he doesn't have claws, mighty blow, doesn't have the stuff that presents a threat to my team. Like Wilhelm is definitely a threat because he's got claws and he also has the ability to re-roll like an injury roll. So if he like takes down a Bloodseeker, there's a good chance that he's taking the Bloodseeker off the pitch. The first drive, I managed to pop the ball loose on my goal line. My theory of the game was that it was harder for both of us to keep the ball secure on offense because we have to devote one player to holding the ball, and that player can't be basically one of our, and it's going to be one of our good players, right? That player can never be in a situation where they can be hit by any of the opposing players because both of our teams were like so lethal to the other ones, potentially. And so, I bogged down enough of the team and the ghoul had to make kind of like a break for it. And I forget the exact circumstances, but I managed to pop the ball out in my backfield, and we spent a turn kind of scrapping over it. I had to use like my last reroll to pop the ball loose. Like I think I spent my luck buffer trying to stop the score there. I felt if I did stop the score, I didn't even have to score back. But if I stopped the score there, then I'm in like great shape. The ball's loose on the goal line. I stunned his ghoul when I knocked it over. So now I have to try to secure the ball. He's got like a werewolf that can get down there. And so I opt to one of the marauders that I sent down there. I think it was the tackle wrestle marauder was the one who knocked the ghoul over. I had him like spend his last point of movement to get to the ball, and then I wanted him to make 2 go for it's to get next to my blood spawn, and that way if he did come after the ball, then the blood spawn's there to provide guard and also to provide tackle if the model hits my dude and tries to get away. I've got some stuff to punish rerolls. And my guy fails his go for it and just falls over, and so the ball's just like laying on the ground. And so Jennings was trying to stall as long as he could on this first drive, and so he opted to stall like one more turn here, because he had kind of like a half cage. There was like a wraith that managed to get down there. The werewolf had a ball, and I think they were like Luther was down there. It was kind of a mess that was developing on my goal line. And so I like blitzed the blood spawn into one of the players who's screening for the werewolf, get the blood spawn on the werewolf, and I think he like manages to just like make a dodge away and score. He scores in turn 7. He gives me 2 turns to score back. And so I do just send a bunch of people down the field. Just get them into scoring range. That's the first thing I do. And there's one Corngore who's like closest to scoring. And so John goes to blitz him. I think he gets like a 2-die into him, and it's like a push. And then he opts. But because I have so much guard, the 2-die turned into a 2-die uphill, or a 1-die, something like that. And so John rolls a skull, and his werewolf just falls over. He did push my model back, so my model is going to have to make 2 go for it. But he's actually got like a line of dudes that are in the way, so I'd have to make like a bunch of dodges with like the way the board is set up at this time. So I opt to knock a couple players out of the way, and I set up a lane for the Beastman, but he's gonna have to make like a leap over the downed werewolf instead. And I didn't actually pick up the ball on my turn 7. Like that was, I went to go try to pick it up to try to get it into the hands of a marauder. And then my goal was to hand off to my 7-speed Beastman and then get him into scoring range, but have like a bunch of models around it, so that way they could clear open a lane, and then have my 7-speed Beastman with 2 heads and dodge make some plays for it. But that Beastman's now stranded in my backfield. So I, with no rerolls, the 7-speed Beastman runs up, picks up the ball, moves, throws a 5-up pass, which is accurate. My other Beastman catches it. That Beastman leaps over the downed werewolf successfully, and then makes 2 goes for it and scores to tie it up at the half. And I felt pretty good about that because scoring in 2 turns makes the game a lot easier from my standpoint, because now all I got to do is just grind out the whole rest of the next half, and I'm in great shape. So the next half starts, and I gotta say, neither of us did any damage to the other. I think he KO'd a Marauder early in that drive, maybe even turn 1, possibly turn 2. That Marauder did not come back, but I had enough extra models to bring in somebody to help cover. And then I might have KO'd one person on my defensive drive. I honestly don't remember, but if I did, they were back. He had a bunch of extra zombies to work with. And so my offensive drive goes pretty well. He gets a 1 die on my ball carrier with a werewolf at one point. Now I kind of I set up in such a way where the werewolf was going to have to use most of his movement to get to me, to get to a 1 die. And I felt even if he knocked over my player, then the werewolf would be isolated by himself with my whole team, and I felt like I was going to get a lot of hits onto it. So I kind of let that happen. I could have kept my Beastman out of danger, but I was trying to get some of these really valuable positionals out of the way, or isolated away from the rest of the team. And so he gets a push on his first roll, and that was going to end up being a 2 die uphill after that. So once again, it's one of those where it's you're going to get a 1 die. You got 2 results that knock my model over. 2 results are good for me because now you're throwing 2 die uphill, and then 2 results just one of them you stand there and the other one you just kind of fall over. So he uses his reroll to try to make something happen there, and re-rolls into a skull. And so his werewolf just falls over in my backfield. I think armor broke on it, but it just stunned back there. That's great. That's kind of out of position. That lets me reinforce my position further up his field. I ended up scoring sooner than I wanted to. We traded some damage. I took out one of his ghouls. I lost a Bloodseeker. And the problem is I couldn't do anything about Luther. I couldn't really get him off the table. And his sidestep is very annoying for, say, the Bloodspawn to blitz into him. And so because Luther was out there, I felt like I was pressured into scoring sooner than I really wanted to. Because I felt if I waited, if I had forced him to score in 2 turns, he was going to be in kind of a similar situation to mine where you're going to need a 5-up to get something to happen. And so I end up scoring. I set up on defense again. He's got 3 turns. And the ball scatters directly onto Luther's head. And he catches it. So he's got 3 turns to score, but Luther has the ball. Now, I think I rolled perfect defense or something on the line, and so I completely mess up all of his line hits, right? That was the thing about my Corn team with all that guard. The opponent's set up to try to get 2 dice on players, and then you get to just move a couple of people in the way. Suddenly, they don't get to throw the hits they want. And so he didn't have to try to get Luther into scoring range on that first turn, so he kept Luther kind of in his backfield so that nobody could get to him. And then he's got to make a mad dash with Luther on the next turn to get him into scoring range. And the best defense that I can muster is to get somebody on Luther, and that fortunately was enough to win the game for me, because Luther needed 3 2-ups to score to send it to OT. And he failed his first one, used the team reroll, failed the loner check, and just kind of fell over, and that was the ball game. So really tight game. We both had 11 for OT. I think he had a couple of KOs at one point and I had managed to casualty a couple players, but he did kill one of my dudes and resurrect a zombie, so he had like a little extra buffer. And honestly, Luther kind of bungled that game in a lot of ways. I think Luther rolled 3 different ones. I think he failed like a hypno gaze. I think he failed a dodge, and then earlier in the game, then he failed the game tying dodge. And so, if Luther scores there, John actually gets a reroll to carry into overtime, which would have been not good for me because I think I was out of rerolls. I'd used them all to try to stop the last ditch drive there. So,
wild game that sets us up for a bracket finals. But before we get to that one, we got to talk about the other bracket semifinal game.
Yeah.
So it's Title Terrors and mostly Nurglings, and that was a lopsided game.
Yeah. We should mention that Klay was like in a car wreck, and then also his vehicle, I guess, was hit by another vehicle earlier in the day. So this game is the nightmare scenario, and this is actually what I was worried about for Klay's sake. I was worried that he was going to go into this game not really sure how much damage that the Snotling team can do, and how you have to, if they get the ball first, how you have to set up in such a way strategically so that they can't just pick your team apart. Apparently, they're like turn 1, a bomb knocked down like 3 or 4 players, and that is a defensive error. Right, that is a defensive setup error. You have to enact the bomb protocols. I don't have a good stop, hide under the desk, shield your eyes from the nuclear explosion,
body check your sister into a wall.
Yeah. I don't have that, whatever that is, that mnemonic to remember against bombs, but you got to set your players up in such a way where they can only hit one model with a bomb. And honestly, I think you put your skinks on the line. You put 3 skinks on the line versus Snotlings because the team doesn't have tackle, and they're probably going to 3 dice whatever they're hitting.
Right.
Anyway, and yeah, the skinks can die, but the skink can actually dodge away. Like if they get knocked down, then the skinks can pop up and run off somewhere else. Whereas the poor Sauruses are just trapped there getting fouled forever, right? Not to give you the playbook on how to win the game after it's already happened there, Klay, but I think you got to go into the game with like 16, 15, or if you don't have the ability to overdog Morg, you go into it with like 14 and overdog, like say dribble and drool, because they're actually really good against Snotlings. Yeah. Like the being able to stab the ball carrier, even if he outsources it to like a gutter runner or whatever, being able to just run into the cage on a 3-up and stab the ball carrier is extremely useful. Right. And then the sidestep gives you some amount of sidestep to work with against them as well. So, and they're only 190k, so it's not too difficult to have enough money to afford them. By that point in the season, so
so Klay did end up taking red.
That's not
in this game. Yeah, and that's like a thing. Obviously, we've seen the playbook of people taking like named biased refs against these like foul heavy teams. But yeah, it's like if you are like you have one side, you have a Lizardman team that took red.
Yeah.
And the other side, you had the Snotling team, which took the decent package of biased ref, wizard, a keg. I think when a Snotling team takes a keg, you're in for trouble because they're just like looking for extra ways to spend money.
They can't spend all the money they have.
3 bribes, riotous rookies, a Morg, a Varag, a mercenary giant, and a mercenary fungus slinger.
Yeah.
Another thing where they are just you've given them so much money.
Spending whatever money they can, yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, like obviously the name of the game was just like couldn't deal any damage and then was losing a player a turn for the first 5 turns of the game.
Yeah.
Overall, Klay took 10 injuries in this game. Obviously, last week we talked about the Snotlings losing an entire roster worth of players. This was worse. It's more strength off the field, probably.
Yeah. Very quickly. Yeah. it's just a debacle, right?
Yeah.
Like, you can't win a game like that, right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, there are things you could do. I mean, as soon as the dice start landing the way they end up landing, it doesn't. I don't know if it actually mattered what kind of decisions you made before that. If every time they touch one of your players, it explodes.
Yeah. And I think other important stat for the game, Klay inflicted 0 injuries.
Yeah,
0 casualties.
That's pretty bad.
Yeah.
That's like, yeah, that's just, I don't know. That's a nightmare.
Yeah. And that could just be, like if you start off with your players falling down, getting out of position, you're not getting blocks, you're like, and you're just like, if you don't get the right blitz or something, like then you're just like stuck. If you're only getting to hit one Snotling a turn and they're getting to throw morgue at somebody plus go and foul that person and just slowly dismantle you and throw bombs, like you just can't keep up with it.
Yeah. And then they've got 3 bribes on top of all that, right? Like, so yeah, it's absurd.
Yeah.
So
So that was a 2-0 win, both touchdowns one touchdown by Varag, one by Borg. So that was the other part too. Is like you have big ball carriers that you can't actually. Really
did you have to use like the Croxagore again or something? Yeah.
Croxagore and assists.
Yeah.
Stick Varag and then 2 assists for more.
Right.
Not a good spot. So yeah, that sets up for the playoff bracket B finals. So we get to talk about later. We got one more game for who that champion, whoever that is, will be playing against, and that is Darn Tootin and Slaughterhouse 11, the bracket A finals, trying to get in to the championship. That's another game for you to recap.
Yeah, and I gotta tell you, if you're gonna pick a game to roll the worst you've rolled all season, I don't recommend it being the semifinals. So obviously Jurgen Jurgen's like been the favorite to win the league, right? I think if you asked everybody in the league who you wanted to be your third sniper against Jurgen, I think a lot of people would actually pick my team, right? Mm-hmm. It's a team that could go toe to toe with his, and something like the Blood Spawn could potentially do a hideous amount of damage to him, and so I did not hate this game on paper coming into it, right? I've got way more strength than him. Yeah, he's got the 5 strength runner, but my Blood Spawn was genetically engineered to kill 5 strength players in a lab, right? Even if those 5 strength players also have dodge, my Blood Spawn is ready for that, right? Yeah. So now the Blood Spawn never got to blitz the 5 strength guy, and you wouldn't think that he really would have a chance at it, because of the the 8 speed and all. Yeah. I made several jokes about how the dwarves were going to reverse the field on me during the course of the game, and that actually did happen on the first drive, funny enough. So Jurgen won the option for the receiving or kicking, and it was pretty funny because we rolled off for it. And I think we rolled the same number like 3 times in a row before Jurgen finally won. And so I was having to play defense, which I think I was fine with, because I felt, once again, I could force him to score, then run out the second half, and then score and win the game 2-1, because he didn't really have like a 1-turn potential. He did get to overdog Deep Root, not overdog, but induce Deep Root, which made him, which certainly leveled the playing field on the strength side. I wasn't super scared of Deep Root because the last time I played Deep Root, I didn't have horns on the Blood Spawn, and then this time I did, so I felt like I was ready. I was ready for Deep Root this time around because of horns plus all the guard that I had. I didn't have nearly as much guard when I played Will last season, and also I felt like Deep Root was rolling kind of insane in that game as far as damage done. potentially. Will rolled multiple boxcars, and Jurgen, I think, rolled boxcars and armor like one time. Jurgen rolled, I think there were like 3 consecutive rolls that were snake eyes for armor, a 3 for armor break against me. Now, my armor rolls, if you look at the tour play, you'll notice I have 0 casualties in this game. I think this may be my only 0 casualty game of the season. And all I gotta say is that next edition, dwarves better have brawlers that'll block. So I'm saying, watch out, dwarves. There's shooters in these streets coming for you. But the thing was, the blood spawn. I was less worried about the blood spawn in this matchup than say like Jennings matchup, because the dwarves are so much slower, and I felt like I could outposition the dwarves, and it's not like the flesh golems who were like 4 strength, so the guys who are most likely to hit the blood spawn were also like tied to mighty blow and a couple other things, or have stand firm, right? Like stand firm. If I'm hitting the stand firm model with the blood spawn, you can just choose not to stand firm, and suddenly the blood spawn's in a space. Like I don't have to map out all the possibilities before I throw the hit with the blood spawn. Now, the story of this game, I really liked my position when I forced Jurgen to score on his turn 4. I really liked it because that gives me like 5 turns to score in this half of beating on dwarves, and then I get the ball back at the half, right? That feels really good in this position. Now, what happened is on the resulting kickoff, Jurgen kicks the ball shallow. Now, I set up in a power I, and I had like a little bit of blitz protection on the wings. I put like 2 marauders out there. And I set up in a power I because the guys that are in the power I can go anywhere on the field to go wherever the ball might be, right? If I set up wrong, if I set up just like scattered about and he does roll a blitz, then I can't bring my full team, right? Like I might have 3 people in the area depending on what happens, right? Mm-hmm. So he kicks the ball short. It goes to the line of scrimmage. And then he does, in fact, roll blitz. And so he knocks my one guy who's got like a tackle zone on the ball. He knocks him out of the way. Doesn't knock him over, but knocks him out of the way. And the 5 strength runner, sure enough, is standing underneath the ball. He gets to move deep root to the line of scrimmage, because you can't put deep root on the line of scrimmage because you don't want the blood spawn to get like free hits into him, right? But he gets to move deep root next to the ball. Fortunately for me, the 5 strength runner doesn't actually catch the ball when it lands, but it lands between deep root and the 5 strength runner. Okay, obviously not ideal, and so I do a pretty good job of managing this situation. Okay, which is, and I think this situation for any team would be a debacle. And so I do, and it's one of those where I wish I had taken a picture of the board, because it would be a fun little test. Like, which model do you think ends up with the ball at the end of this turn, right? Before the corn player activates, which model in the field do you think starts the next turn with the ball, right? The ball is right next to the 5 strength runner. The ball is right next to deep root, right? You've got a couple of bloodseekers in the area. You got a couple other dwarves in the area, and you have these concentric rings that spiral out where like players are going to choose people closer to where the ball is more likely, right? And it's like, you might have players choose the blood spawn, right? Something funny might happen. The blood spawn might end up with the ball, right? There's no telling where the ball lands, but it's going to be funny. Well, it ends up in the hands of like this unassuming, unexpecting marauder who actually starts the turn in 2 tackle zones of dwarves away from the ball. But he managed to, like, due to the course of the of events during the turn, that marauder throws a 1 die into a dwarf and then pushes him onto the ball. And then the ball scatters into the scrum, and it scatters to that marauder, and it scatters out of his hands to somebody else, and then scatters back to him, and he spikes the 6. So I have a wrestle marauder with the ball surrounded by like 4 dwarves. And he's got some help in the area, but that's where my turn. That's the start of my, like, that's the end of my turn, is like this marauder with the ball, and I'm like, that's not where I want this, right? I was trying to set up a scenario where I could get my 2 heads Beastman in there. He had the ability to move in there, grab the ball on a 5 with sure hands, and then like dodge out, and then he would have been covered, right? And I could get him away from danger. So to help set the stage here, Marauder's got the ball, surrounded by 4 dwarves. Basically every model on the field is marked by some other model on the field. Essentially, it's a complete scrum. I think there are 22 models in like a 6x5 area of the map, maybe even 6x4. It's just everybody is like dogpiling towards this ball, and so Jurgen gets to take a turn, and he gets to knock some of the guys around. He throws a hit into the ball carrier and rolls like a skull boat down or boat down. So I wrestle to the ground so that way my guy doesn't take like an armor check there. And the ball pops loose, falls somewhere on the ground. It's a favorable scatter for Jurgen. It like scatters past, like behind his line of dwarves. It scatters like to a line dwarf who doesn't catch it, and it scatters behind him, as opposed to like taking a favorable bounce for me. So he takes the rest of his turn the best that he can, and he doesn't even actually recover the ball. So the ball's on the ground during this turn. And so I start my turn 10, which is the second turn of the half. Or sorry, no, this is my turn 6. I start my turn 6, and I get like at the start of this turn I have 5 or 6 blocks in the dwarves, right? I think the blood spawn's got like a hit. I can get like a blitz with the blood spawn towards the ball and like smash a dwarf onto it and see if I can scatter the ball someplace favorable. I get to just knock a bunch of them out of the way. I get like some frenzy hits where I can do like some really sick positioning. And so my first block of the turn is double skulls. I re-roll it. It is double skulls. So I quad skull out as the very first action of this turn. Okay, so it is worse than if I had not taken a turn at all, because I knocked over one of my players that were standing at this point. And so I cannot recover from this board position that he puts me in afterwards. He gets the ball on the 5 strength dwarf. He gets to cage it up. And the best that I can hope for during this drive is to maybe keep him from scoring. And I think there's like 1 or 2 other things that go wrong during this effort where I just cannot catch that dwarf. It makes it away and goes and scores. And I think I am in trouble. This is really bad. Being down 2-0 at the half is a disaster, right? Especially against dwarves, right? Just an absolute nightmare scenario. I have to somehow score 2 touchdowns in the next half to have a chance. And so I line up at the start of the half, And I think most annoyingly, through 2 turns of hitting Urigan, I do not get any damage. I think I KO'd a singular dwarf in the first half, who he immediately rolled a 4 to get back in the game, right? I have to score really fast to try to win this game, and then pray something happens on the resulting kickoff that can tilt it in my favor. And so I set up. I actually run into a disaster here on the first part. My Bloodspawn's Blitz is double skulls, and I fail the pro, and so I have to loner the pro. I managed to pass the loner to re-roll the pro. I managed to pass the pro to re-roll the skull, and I get a both down. And so I don't even get the frenzy hit with the Bloodspawn into the dwarf. But I managed to salvage the turn. I run a bunch of people into scoring position. And so this plays out very similar to the Jennings touchdown in 2 turns, where he moves some people in the way, and I get like a pretty good blitz. Knox clear open a path. I sequence things differently this time. I run a Marauder down to the end zone first, because he's got to make 2 go for it's. If I fail the go for it's, then the ball is still protected in my backfield. So I managed to pass those. I then have my 7-speed Beastman run up and hand off, and that's successful. And then this Beastman runs up and does 2 go for it's to get within a short pass distance to make the pass of 4, which is accurate. I pass all of these. It's accurate. The guy goes to drop the touchdown in the end zone, rolls like a 2 to catch it. I use a team re-roll, get the 4, catch it, score in 2 turns. Send it to 2-1. Set up on defense. The defensive kickoff is a blitz. I'm like, that's what we need, baby. We're back in the game. We're so back, in fact. And so I like send the house after the backfield. I like move a bunch of people up into base on the line of scrimmage to throw off his blocks, and then I run like my 2 foul appearance guys into the backfield. And so he only has like the runners are the only ones that are like mobile at this point. I think there's like 2 blitzers are tied up as well. And so he blitzes with his runner, the 5 strength one, picks up the ball, knocks over one of my foul appearance dudes, and then he makes like a kind of like half cage. And so on this turn, I can actually get like 2 or 3 people to base his runner, with a couple of rolls that go my way. I can get in there. And so the first key part is my foul appearance Bloodseeker standing up and blitzing his blitzer that was part of the cage out of the way. That would move him out of the way, and then I could move and base the ball carrier. That way I've got a foul appearance dude on the ball carrier, right? So there's a chance he just rolls a 1 to try to blitz him away, or he's got to make a dodge away. And so this guy stands up, he hits the blitzer, he pushes the blitzer. I have to make a go for it to throw the frenzy hit. I roll a 1, I re-roll it, I roll a 1. That's like my last re-roll for this drive, right? So my guy falls over, and I don't have any pressure on the ball at all now. And so on the next turn, the 5 strength runner is completely secure. It knocks over so much of my team, it's not even funny. And so, but he's kind of like having to move to one side of the field. And so I'm doing my best to put pressure over here. And so what I've got like a nice block with a Bloodseeker to get like a dwarf out of the way, and I can like kind of pressure one side of the cage and open up some stuff. So I got to throw this first block. I go to throw the first block. It's double skulls. I'm out of rerolls. My guy just falls over. So if you're looking for how to beat this dwarf team, my recommendation is don't lose like 3 turns in the middle of a game. Don't give them a bonus turn in the middle of the game. Don't do any of that stuff. That's my recommendation. I think you've got a chance to win this game, provided provided you follow that advice. So, yeah. What was like a really nice, tight, interesting game went off the rails due to some like apocalyptically bad luck. It actually might be the worst I've rolled with this team. The games where I had like 5 double skulls in the past, I had like 3 or 4 casualties to make up for it. I didn't even get those in this game. The Bloodspawn, it wasn't that the Bloodspawn did like too little too late. Like the Bloodspawn KO'd 2 dwarves just like in garbage time. But I mean, my blocks into his dwarves, I think resulted in like 4 total armor breaks or something, and 3 of those were in the first half. Right. And then I probably lost 10 to 15 blocks in the second half due to just turnovers, right? Due to anywhere from 3% to like 1 in 1,000 chance turnovers during the course of the game. And if Jurgen doesn't really fail any rolls, I did steal some stuff early in the game with foul appearance, right? He had a couple of hits that just flubbed in the middle of it. And his team only had 2 rerolls, right? So he didn't actually have like a huge margin for error, but I believe he ended the game having 2 rerolls unspent, 1 in the first half, 1 in the second half, just to give you an indication of how things went. So hats off to Jurgen. I think he was anointed to win the league. I think this game was evidence of that, seeing as how my dice rolls just went sideways.
It's definitely not cursing him for a finals match. Saying that he's anointed for this. Yeah. Well, with that, we'll do a quick in memoriam segment, then we'll take a break and talk about our Bracket B finals, which will happen eventually. But for our in memoriam this week, we've got Lid Geller, lineman for Slaughterhouse 11, turned into a zombie.
Yep.
Then we had Mako, who was a skink for the Title Terrors, which I think was one of Clay's foulers that he's trying to get going a bunch, just never. And then Keelgan, another lineman for Slaughterhouse 11.
Yeah, I lost some Marauders in these games. That's because I probably praised the durability of Marauders somewhere during the season. The Marauders are the guys who never get hit because your opponent's always hitting your Bloodseekers and always hitting your Corngores or the Bloodspawn, right? Like now, a lot of people in the last couple of games, my opponents were blitzing the Marauders, which I think is usually correct because they're the easiest guys to hurt, and inevitably it was their time. It was due. They were overdue.
Yep. All right, well, we're going to take a quick break here and then come back to review some Snotling Mayhem. All right, we're back. I hope you enjoyed that ad from Established Titles. Or whatever it is they're promoting on these videos.
Legal Eagle.
Yeah. We have a Bracket B Finals game to talk about. This is going to be 2 players squaring off to see who has the privilege of facing Jurgen in the finals. Rag and Bone. Oops, mostly Nerdlings. Undead Snotling matchup. What's your fast take on this game?
I mean, I think Undead are good at taking damage, and so Snotlings can win games where they can do damage and leave nothing remaining of their team, of the opposing team. And Undead have nothing but models. They don't care if they get hurt, right? You have an endless wave of zombies. So I think Sean also has a treasury. So his team value is also only 1,500, which is like much lower than what we've seen from a lot of the other stuff. So I like Sean's chances. Sean dealt with Juan during the regular league, and Juan and Chase have similar, not identical, but similar strategies going on. So I like Sean's chances.
Yeah, definitely. I noted that currently as it sits, the Chase is going to be getting less money. He has shown some ability to kind of make a solid use of that money that he is getting. It's like currently like a little over $1 million. So I mean that's like still a decent amount of things he's looking to get. But I'd be interested to see kind of what his strategy is going into this game. Like we've seen him go for one of the gutter runners.
Yeah. I think he needs that in this matchup.
Yeah.
Because I think you can't just have Morg have the ball and blitz with him every turn, because there's like a good chance Morg blitzes into something and gets stuck on it. Mm-hmm. And a scrum is going to favor the undead over a large enough period of time. Mm-hmm. And the mummies are actually threats to the big guys. So, yeah, I mean, I think you can actually do enough damage to the Snotling team with undead that you take out a troll or something like that, and then suddenly you might even be the one to dictate the flow of the game from there.
Yeah, and flow obviously is going to be important. Like undead is a team that is very resilient, has that regenerate, but the plan might just be Chase is kind of just going in for 2 long drives, and he's like, if I receive the ball and just pick a player off the board, I don't care if they regenerate. You're not going to get a turn to score back with them. Like right. if I get enough removals early in the turn,
Sean's got enough for Grack and Crumbleberry, so you take Grack and Crumbleberry as the 1-turn package deal.
Maybe that might be the play, but also obviously the persistent issue with the undead teams, ghouls don't regenerate.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
That's those ghouls go down, that's probably going to be like a priority target. And if the ghouls go down, you lose a lot of that ball carrying ability. Then you're relying on the whites, which I think one of those whites is it's like Frenzy, Mighty Blow, Guard, Tackle, I think.
Yeah, with sure hands randomed.
Yeah, so like that is a player where you want that one to be like hopefully going around and just like peeling. It's not like a turn or something like that can like kills things. That's what you want if he does go the gutter runner route of being able to kind of sit in the back and be like, okay, I've got something that can take you.
It could cage dive a gutter runner on a 4-up too, if the cage is comprised of only Snotlings, right?
Right.
So tie up the cage dive on a 4-up with like a reroll in your pocket, and then 2-die into the gutter runner with Frenzy, Tackle. Feels pretty good.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and that'll be the thing. I'd be interested to see kind of what the strategy is going to be for Chase. If he's going to target the ghouls first or target like some of the bigger pieces, because that could be a thing where
I think it's I think when I played Amazons in this Shambling, I actually targeted the mummies first. Mm-hmm. In tournament lists where I have dribble and drool, right? You knock the mummy down and then you foul it, the bejesus out of it with dribble and drool. Mm-hmm. I would not be shocked if that's a similar strategy here.
Yeah, just because like that, like you said, they're a threat, and you could very quickly remove that threat, and then like you've got at that point, then you can kind of move down the line. Like, okay, I'll hit your ball carriers next, and then I'll hit.
Yeah.
If that white just puts himself in a spot that he can get caught, that'll kind of
and that's like it's not impossible because of Frenzy, right? Like you can end up in a position you don't actually want to dodge away from because you were forced to follow with Frenzy.
Yeah. So it's gonna be an interesting game. It looks like it's gonna be, as of recording, next Monday.
Yeah.
So that one's probably worth a stream. So that'll be a good one. If you are, and then obviously whoever wins this one is going to be going on and playing Jurgen in the finals. So if you're Jurgen, who do you want to see out of these two?
You would much rather see the undead, I think. You're not terrified of the Snotlings, but I think you'd much rather fight the undead, because that is just a straight up fight, and Jurgen's team is just nightmarishly developed compared to Sean's undead team. Mm-hmm. The mummies are a problem, but those mummies are probably just hitting the line dwarf the whole game. Jurgen is Jurgen has got as much money as he wants. He could overdog a Deep Root. He could overdog whatever, right? Like the Old World Alliance star players are just better than the undead ones. So even if he plays against like a Count Luther and a Wilhelm, you go into it with some sort of Mighty Blow +2, you're in great shape. That'll process zombies real fast.
Right.
So.
Yeah. I think I agree with that assessment, just based on, to me, I think the big thing is just bomb access.
Yeah.
And undead not having any of that is
right.
huge. Like,
yeah, Jurgen could overdog Cindy.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and that is a nightmare for the undead. Like, what are you supposed to do against that?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I think how much money did Jurgen have in his treasury after our game?
I think it's currently 355.
Not enough for Morg, interestingly. But you could take, like, if you played Chase, you could take Deep Root, and Deep Root can go toe-to-toe with the Giant.
Mm-hmm.
Or Deep Root can bully the Troll, you know. Like, 335 is actually enough for Cindy plus Deep Root, right? Mm-hmm. So I think that would be my game plan against Snotlings.
Yeah, roll 6 on your expensive mistakes. And...
don't roll that. Don't do that. But even if you did, I think you would still take Cindy in the matchup, because I think Cindy throws off the Snotling math way too much, right? Mm-hmm. Knocking down a Troll for free, knocking down the Giant for free, knocking down Morg. Taking any of these players out of the equation for a turn it could be enough to swing the tide, where the dwarves are the ones who are pitch clearing the Snotlings, right? Yeah. So.
Yeah, and like if it gets to that point too, I mean, I think even like if you want to avoid like a bad expensive mistake, you could like take a rookie death roller.
Yeah,
like
rookie.
Seven strength piece just sits on the line. And it's like
rookie death roller is not bad either, right? You take the rookie death roller, you take Cindy. If you got enough money, you take one bribe. Yeah, and then you got your choice: death roller or Cindy to keep in the game, depending on which one you think can do the most damage. Mm-hmm. The rookie death roller squares up against the Giant, right? Yeah. And rookie death roller, but very competent at taking a downed player off the pitch. So, and if you trade the rookie death roller for a Morg or the Giant, and fine, accepted. Yeah. So.
Yep. All right, and obviously there are some title implications of this game besides whose game they play. If Chase wins, we are guaranteed a new name.
Yeah.
On the plaque.
Yeah.
Which would be cool.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny. I mean, you asked me which one Jurgen would rather play. I actually think Chase would rather I have won the game, right? Mm-hmm. Like, I think Chase would rather have played against the Corn team instead of against the Dwarf team, right? But I still think I would, like, if I'm in Jurgen's shoes, I'd much rather play against the Undead team than the Snotling team. Yeah. So it's a funny way that works out. But yeah, I mean, I'm rooting for a new name on the plaque for sure.
Yeah. All right. Any final predictions?
Final predictions? No, I'm not in the predicting game anymore.
Okay. Well, fair enough. Man, what a letdown it is. What am I supposed to?
Sorry,
I can't even agree and or disagree at this point. Just stranded out here. Well, I guess that means it's up to the audience to predict.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the audience favored Jurgen, right? Mm-hmm. To win it all. And we're looking at that right now. We've got 1,